Hey, so today's a fun show. We're going to do a little bit of a relic update.
And then we were going to head into the mountains on a hunt for a seasonal food that would have been vital to the early pioneers of Washington State.
Cool, let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Detecting Our Past. Today we're going to talk about mushrooms.
Mushrooms would have been a critical food source for them during the winter when game would be laying down to hibernate, but a risky one at that.
Definitely. There are thousands of varieties of mushrooms in the forest. Disclaimer, don't eat them. Unless you've gone with someone who knows the woods and knows the mushrooms to eat, do not eat wild mushrooms you find in the forest. Now, with that said, there are many tasty varieties in the forest. There's some that'll make you sick, some that'll kill you, and some will help you find your spirit animal.
And we're going to be exploring a bit of that today. Not the drugs, but
not that we don't.
Mushrooms. So without further ado, I'm River.
I'm Jeff.
And welcome to Detecting Our Past.
Okay, one of my favorite mushrooms to find out in the wild is this one right here. This is called an angel wing, or some people call it an oyster mushroom. I've heard it called both, but that is a great mushroom to eat. If you're new to mushroom hunting, remember always give it a try. Try a little bit of it before you just dive in and eat all your mushrooms at one time, so you know if that you have the right tummy for that specific variety. But I've never heard of this one making anyone sick. It is delicious and would have made up a big supply in the food chain of these pioneers. Angel wings, delicioso.
All right, now this, my friends, is the prize of the forest. This has been positively ID'd as the golden chanterelle, and it is one of the most delicious mushrooms in the Pacific Northwest. And you can tell it is a golden chanterelle by its distinctive gold color, and it has a very unique structure of gills underneath. And this one, it's actually a nice cluster, is absolutely ginormous.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. Oh yeah, flip it over so we can see the bottom of that.
Now we can
beautiful.
Tell because
Classic.
of the gill structure underneath, and we've actually got two more underneath here. This is a beautiful little patch, and you always want to make sure to get as much of the stem as you can, because that's where all the good meat is going to be.
That's the tasty right there. Oh yeah.
These are beautiful.
Great find.
Amazing. Oh man, these go deep.
I don't know what I like more, metal detecting or mushroom hunting.
Both are good.
Both are very, very good, yeah.
Wow, this is a big patch.
Yeah, that's an excellent patch. Good job.
Great find.
Sometimes in the stores, those can be, up to $40, $50 a pound.
There's still
just beautiful.
One more under here. And you always want to make sure that you can get as much of it out as you can, because this stem is delicious. But that is a great cluster of chanterelles right there.
Nice done. Some of these chanterelles, you got to be half billy goat to harvest.
We're in a little bit of a tricky spot here, but
so we sent River in to do the recon work.
Look at the size
beautiful.
Of that thing.
What a great piece. Look at that.
That's not even the half of it.
Oh wow. Excellent mushrooms. Look at those.
And we have another beautiful cluster here.
Oh man, I can't get up there to film.
Yeah,
that's too high.
This is a huge cluster. This is...
Oh yes.
If we didn't get these, a bear.
Oh, look at those.
There's still 3 more big ones.
Beautiful golden chanterelles.
Another
those
thing about the chanterelles is their caps get very wavy.
Okay, you guys might recognize this mushroom, at least from popular lore. This is an amanita. And all of these bumps on top are remnants from the underside veil that it once had. This mushroom is really, really toxic, and you don't want to eat this guy at all. If you remember from Super Mario, there are the red varieties with the white spots all over the top. And this guy is just sitting here, perfect example, perfectly blooming. Just a gorgeous specimen. but this is one of the ones you don't want to eat. If it's got bumps, don't eat it like that. Right behind it also are a couple of different stages of the mushroom's progression. There's one that's more bloomed out up here at top, and that top cap just opens up more and more and more. And then there's this small bud that's just coming out of the ground right there. But the Amanita variety, don't eat that.
Now we have found something incredibly special, my friends. Now if you look right down here, just for size comparison, I have very large hands, and this is a huge cluster, and this is the cauliflower mushroom, and it's a delicacy in the Northwest.
It's so beautiful.
And they're very rare up here. We don't find them often, but they're delicious, and this is an incredible find.
That's a great specimen.
Oh my, this is like a solid 2 pounds of just...
Wow.
It's all branching off of one little stem, so it's gonna be a bit tricky to remove. So we'll get back to you on that one. We'll get some still pictures, and this is incredible. Now, I'd just like to take a minute to go back to one of our most sensational finds of basically the lifetime of this channel, and that would be our beautiful pocket watch that we've found. And we've actually uncovered a lot of amazing information about this pocket watch. First and foremost, it is much older than we thought it was. We were able to pop the front panel off, and it turns out it is not actually acrylic like we originally assumed. It's actually glass, which is, of course, from an older era and not commonly used anymore. And secondly, and this is incredible, the jeweler who made this watch is actually still in business in a little town called Sedalia, Missouri. And we contacted them, and they informed us that this specimen is actually from about 1868, which is incredible. It predates what we thought it was by about 40 years. So this is an amazing piece. We've learned a lot about it, and it's just a great find overall.
Okay, one of my favorite mushrooms out here, and certainly would have been a staple for the pioneers of the day, is this type of coral mushroom. You can find it in white, you can find it in orange, you can find it in purples. I've seen it, but it is fantastic. It looks kind of funky, but if you fry that up, saute it up and fry it crispy in some butter, it's just like, tastes just like bacon. It's a fantastic mushroom. It's a fantastic resource for the early pioneers up here. It's called a coral, a variety of coral mushroom. Okay, so here we found a bunch of patches of these strange brown mushrooms growing up this dead tree. I don't know what they are, and the same would have been true for a lot of these pioneers that came out here trying different mushrooms. The learning curve would have been quite short. Some of them are fantastic to eat. These, I don't know them. My advice to you is never eat mushrooms that you find in the wild that you can't identify. My rule of thumb has always been little brown mushrooms growing out of dead trees, don't eat them. So be safe. One of the most exciting pieces we found this year was this medal. And in the show in August, we talked about what it could possibly be, and some viewers have helped us identify that as an American Sharpshooter medal from the early 1900s. It's really, really amazing to see that. Have no idea how it could possibly have gotten up into the woods where we are. Maybe there was some type of training going on, military training up in the pass where we go. But really cool pieces. Had a lot of interest in those, so we thought we'd just give you an update and let you know that we have identified that. Very cool. Okay, as you can see, we're in this area that's pretty overgrown. Lots of fir trees around, lots of hemlock around. And right here on the ground, as you can see, this is one of the prizes of the woods. This is called a Suillus bolete. Some people call it the king bolete. And it is a fantastic mushroom. And just for a size reference, look at the size of that thing. So I'm gonna harvest it and then show you some of the characteristics of the underside of this mushroom so you can identify it in the wild. Okay, so as I pull it out of the ground, you're going to see this beautiful, beautiful yellow sponge underneath the cap. This sponge, there's a lot of different school of thoughts on if it bruises blue, if it doesn't bruise blue. But this, you can tell by this nice golden color and this big fat stem that this is the real deal. So what we're gonna do is take a little bit of a scratch in the field and see what happens to that scratch. And right now it's not becoming too off colored. So even if you did live by the bruise blue policy, that is not bruising blue. But a beautiful, beautiful Suillus bolete. Fantastic.
Well, we had an amazing mushrooming day today. What about that lion's mane? Huh?
Wow, that was absolutely incredible. I've looked for one of those for a long time. I'm really glad that we were able to come up with one of those.
And it's awesome that we could come up with it together on DOP.
It is cool. Just to re-emphasize, all of these resources available to the pioneers of the day would have been invaluable. And if it's freezing cold up here and you're in the mud, you haven't been able to shoot a rabbit in a while, these mushrooms would have been an invaluable food source.
Especially going into these winter months with little to no game as they're all going down for hibernation, it would have been crucial for them. Yeah. But the learning curve would have been, a little bit annoying in the beginning.
Right, so just one more disclaimer, do not eat mushrooms you find in the wild unless you have a professional guide, someone who knows what they're doing, who can identify these varieties. It can be very dangerous, it can be deadly, and it can send you on a journey.
But thank you again so much for joining us on this episode. We would really appreciate it if you could show your support. Drop a comment, we love to read them.
Like and subscribe. Until next time.